this is the next or the current epidemic of the world, that we are facing lots of mental health issues, problems, and disorders that we are just hiding under the rug because we attach shame and stigma to mental health.
Hello and welcome. From social issues to personal growth, let's break the barrier and embrace the possibilities. Welcome to my channel, Say Something with Mads, where I invite youth from across the globe every week for a heart to heart chat, a candid talk about what is the issue which are close to them, what is their opinion about global issues, and many more. Today, it's a really special episode. I have Ananya Banerjee with me. Hi, Ananya. Welcome to my channel.
Hi, Madhumita. Thank you so much. An honor to be with you.
Thank you. For those who don't know much about Ananya, I will give a small intro, but I want Ananya to talk about her journey because her journey is so fascinating. It might take one whole episode if I start to introduce her. So I will go short. She's a 19-year-old. She's studying in Australia. She's doing her graduation in psychology, the scholarship holder. But more than that, why she's here today is because of the social entrepreneurship journey which she has. She has an NGO called Sarthi. She and her sister also have started an NGO called as Sushiksha. They have adopted villages near Karnal and in 2018 to work with the villagers for their upliftment. I will not speak much. Straight away over to Ananya. And yes, they have been working on infant mortality, I mean, the female infanticide issue since a long time with her mother, with her father. This is something which is a really amazing topic to discuss, and we have never had this on our show. So I would like her to take us through the journey.
Sure. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I feel pumped now. About my name, so it's Ananya, and which means to be unique, to be different. And I hope that I'm able to live by my name, to be able to stand out of crowd and stay unique in my perspective. And yeah, it's a beautiful name that my parents gave me. About my change making journey, I think it began very early. It began when I was going to be born in 2003. When I was going to be born, there was a lot of resistance and a lot of pressure on my mother to get me aborted just because I was a girl. So some people forced my mother into getting ultrasound to detect the sex, and when they found it's a female in the womb, there was a lot of hue and cry, and no one wanted to welcome me because I already had an elder sister in the family. Everyone wanted a son instead. That
Mhm.
was the beginning. My father and my mother were shook to the core because they had to go through all of that. It was last moment decision of my father that even the injection was ready, and he literally stopped the nurse and the doctor to not abort me. And when I heard this story as a child, I couldn't process it.
Mhm.
I was so baffled that this is how I was born. Like there was no, ceremony, rejoice, or, birth of a son is such a big deal. Everyone gets together and everyone celebrates. So that was the beginning. My father started Lori Beti Ke Naam. So Lori
Mhm.
is a festival in North India, which is celebrated to rejoice the birth of a son. It was first time in India that birth was rejoiced. And it was no DJ party. It was instead a social awareness event. My parents went about villages and talked about female feticide and their story. That was a beginning, and after that there was no turning back because we saw that impact in people. We found that in urban and rural areas there's still rampant female feticide.
Mhm.
And then we took on to next campaign. We believe that there are two lifelines to sustain. One is definitely the mother, and next is the
Mhm.
mother earth. So we started focusing on environmental preservation in 2009. I, my sister, my parents, and the volunteers of our organization, we went across 6 states of India by
Mhm.
for a road expedition. And all we did was we were talking to villagers, we were spreading the message, we had pamphlets, we had talks with them, and we gifted them free CDs for our documentary Earth in Flames and Beti. So that was the way we started. We never cared about, recognition or, getting featured somewhere. It was just out of passion. I have always been given that environment by my parents, that they have pushed me to think beyond myself. They have pushed me to think about the community and society. And
Mhm.
then, as me and my sister grew up, we had our own understanding. Then we started leading the organization and campaigns. We introduced Buland, which is a menstrual health campaign.
Mhm.
So we want to make, women feel empowered, that it's no curse to be a menstruator. And we delivered a lot of free workshops and free distribution of pads across low income schools. And then, recently, I launched a mental health campaign. I call myself a stern advocate of mental health, definitely because of my journey, because of my innate passion, I would say, for mental health and psychology. And then we did a lot of online and offline events during COVID. I remember I ran Re-Evolve 2021, which was
Okay.
a series of interviewing professional psychiatrists and making people aware, through this platform of Zoom, that, we could talk about stress, we could vent out, we could share. There were a lot of activities and all, and that deeply impacted people.
Mhm.
And then we had a lot of offline events in different states and cities of India.
Mhm.
So I think we are just a youth led and youth run non-governmental organization, and we have the vision of empowering people, advocating for change making. And I just love my change making journey. And it's been a thriller, it's been a roller coaster ride, I would say.
Absolutely. I was listening to you, and for my viewers who are listening, I would, in my description, I will put a link to her video where you can see her journey from a tiny tot. She was going around that lorry fire, and what a fascinating video that is. I think the whole journey will unfold. I will share that link. But as I was listening to you, I wanted to ask you this earlier also, but since the beginning of the interview, I will ask you that where did you learn to get that confidence of speaking so well on stage? Did it come automatically, or did you have that kind? Where did you get this confidence? This is for the youth who are listening. And I've seen her speak on the video, of course, when you were young in the school annual day, etc. And
Oh, that's a lovely, interesting question. I think that credit goes to my parents, because both of them are teachers, and how a teacher has to be a good speaker to be able to influence their students. So I think I've seen them since my very young age. I would sit in their classrooms. They would be all elders, and I would just observe my parents, how they're speaking, how they're communicating. And I was in upper kindergarten. I was around, I guess, 4 or 5, when my mom just pushed me to a stage in my school, and she was like, you will participate. And they were all my seniors, there was none of my age. And I don't think that was the perfect way. I would have fumbled, I would have done that. But my parents never stopped pushing me. They were always that, okay, you'll get better. So I think, and then I just started finding love for speaking. Whether it's communicating to strangers around me, or being able to convey what I want to make an awareness around people, or just my poetry and open mics or speeches for awareness. So yeah, that just happened over time, but
yeah,
definitely my parents, yeah.
yes, for people to understand this, communication is all about speaking from the heart and reaching people's hearts. You don't have to use fancy words. You don't have to use good vocabulary and build a speech. You just go out, and if you are authentic, it will reach people. Going to my next question, you have been on various platforms. You have won lots of awards, and you have been speaking a lot. Just go back and tell me, when was the first awareness that yes, we are doing something, something which hit you that yes, I am famous, people are calling me, this is my first award, this is my first big speech. What is that feeling? When was that feeling, and what was it like?
Oh, okay. Lovely. I think that was in different parts at different moments, and I won't call myself famous. I think I'm just doing my bit. I'm just trying to look for my purpose of life and adding meaning to my life. But thanks for saying that. I think when I was around 4 or 3, I remember my mother was carrying me in her arms. And definitely a 3 or 4 year old child is able to understand what's going around even if we don't have that intellectual understanding. And I would see my parents wear that apron with the message, save daughters, save earth. And they would talk to people, they'll go to public places. And my mom would be so courageous. Every day she would hear people saying that, oh, you have a daughter, so sorry for you. Oh, you have two daughters, you should rather go for son. Despite hearing all of those from people who were close to us, she would have courage to go around and talk about female feticide. She would take me in her arms and help me understand what's going around. I think those were very impactful moments if I
Moments.
now
Yeah.
analyze and look
Mm,
back, and those have silently shaped me. And
mm,
then there were a lot of conversations in our family, about what we are doing and how we could change our perspectives. And it's just the impact I've seen my parents have made over years, and
mm,
then it filled in me that I want to do something that I could impact a single life. And I
mm.
remember that we did not have television in our homes, which is little weird to hear that for I think 15 years of my life I did not watch TV. All I knew doing was narebazi, which is campaigning and protesting. So I think every moment, every campaign, every interaction with the person, every impact has shaped me into what I'm doing now. I have my own perspective today, is all because of the bits and bits of that journey. So yeah.
That is amazing because you said 15 years you don't have television. For people who are listening again, that if you have a purpose and a passion, you might not need all this external media output or something like that to get your okay, what is happening around the world. You don't need to do that. The newspaper is good enough, but if you have a purpose, you will go ahead and do that. And kudos to your family. I was just going to ask you who is your role model, but I don't think that question makes any sense right now because you said repeatedly that your mom and dad are your role models. Yes.
Definitely, no denial in that. But I think beyond my family, if I have to mention some role models, would be Mr. Sharad Vivek Sagar. So
Okay.
he is a social entrepreneur. He was recently even expert advisor at KBC. So he's from a small village in Bihar, and he started his own organization at the age of 16, and he has been, talking about nation building and character building, and he's been shaping youth succinctly. And he has inspired me tremendously. He has been invited by Barack Obama. At the age of 30, he has already, won international recognition. It's all because of his vision. And he was homeschooled for around 6 years by his parents. And he was in a village where there were no resources. So when
Oh,
I look up to these people, I have interacted with him. He has been my mentor, as I did a leadership program under his Dexterity Global organization. I think people like him, when I listen to his story and when I see that these people actually exist, he has given up, luxuries and comforts. All he is about change making. All he is about developing youth. So I think there are a lot of other examples that I look up to. And then my Sushiksha students. I did not actually talk about Sushiksha in the previous answers. For the viewers, Sushiksha is a mobile school which
mm,
was initiated by me and my sister Sanjoli Banerjee. And the idea began when my sister was on student exchange. She was studying in Australia, then she was on exchange in UK. And on a video call, I remember talking to her. She would say how privileged we are, Ananya, that
mm,
our parents have put education as their first priority, and because of that we are getting education in different countries. And think
mm.
about the same people from our neighborhood who are not even given access to education. They're just told that okay, you are poor, you have to earn as a child. That conversation helped us initiate Sushiksha, and we adopted a village near Karnal. And it's been around 3 years. And there's been drastic transformation. We are trying to plug the gap between urban and rural kids. We don't think that those children are, underprivileged and they don't know anything, and we are going to teach them. We never think that way. It's rather two-way learning, and we are
Mm,
just giving them an environment of holistic learning, holistic education, so that
mm.
they develop their skills, they develop their dreams. So yeah, so Sushiksha students are definitely my role models, the way I see their journey. And every time in the classes, they would come with an extraordinary smile and a willingness to learn despite all the challenges and lack of resources they have. I think they are my role models too.
Absolutely. Wow. I got to know about Mr. Sharad Vivek Sagar, right? You said
Yeah,
I will look up to
definitely.
him. Yeah, though I remember him seeing him on KBC, but yes, through you, I know about him, and I will definitely look him up, and really inspiring. And coming to your journey, when you said that working with underprivileged children, now that you are not there physically present, who is looking after that, and how does this work continue? Who is doing the back end work now, and what is the future of it? What do you see yourself doing in next 10 years?
Okay, so yes, I moved an year ago to Australia for my higher education. And yes, that was a challenge for us. But now the system is that me and my sister, as we both are studying in Australia, we are the brains behind the organization. So we plan, we understand where we have to, conduct an event, what project, how has to be done, the logistic part. And then we have a team of over 200 volunteers in India. And all
Oh,
of those members, volunteers, are youth. They are from the age of 15 to about 25. And those young change makers help us lead campaigns and events in their own cities. That's not just an awareness event for the people they are impacting, but also it's helping them develop and understand that as youth they're a lot capable. They have that change making power. So it's a beautiful chain. And successfully in 2022, when we both were in Australia, we did around 7 events in different cities, in West Bengal to Jaipur, Delhi, Chandigarh. All of them were about mental health. We did an event in Karnal, which had great response, and we could make impact. Then we have online events so that I can personally interact with people. So I think it is not that
wow.
easy. That
Mm,
requires a lot of time and energy despite those hectic
mm,
assignments. I have to cook my own food. I
mm,
love socializing with people, going to college. But then, when you are passionate about something, when you
mm.
love something, you ought to find out some time. So I
Time.
think it's just possible because my sister backs me. We both back each other. So that
Mm.
happens. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's awesome. People don't have to wait कि मेरे को कुछ करना है तो मेरे को उसका टाइम कब निकालूं. You have to manage everything together and join organization who are already doing well, and you can give your time instead of all of us thinking of starting something of our own. There are so many people like Ananya doing such beautiful work. Join them and give your best and bring it to your cities also. Who takes care of the finances? You're doing an NGO. You have an NGO. There is always an issue of money. Where does it come from? And is it all donation based, or how does it come from?
The interesting part is that our organization, since day one, has been a self funded organization, which
Okay.
means that apart from my parents funding our education, they're funding the organization. So there's a
Wow.
part of income that my parents have always dedicated to community service. And that's how we utilize it through our organization. And to be honest, we don't have structure that incurs a lot of expenses.
Okay.
We have developed our system in a way that we neither accept donations, nor do we hire people, nor do we have to pay for different things.
Ah, okay.
it's
Everything is
it's rather,
volunteer.
yeah, the basic resources. For example, we have pad distribution, so we'll buy pads, or like, and we actually accept little donations in the form of kind, whether if a person wants to donate pads instead of money. We have never accepted money. So that, in that way, we have been sustaining this organization successfully. And now the idea is that I and my sister become financially independent, and we
Please.
take over the financial part as well. So yeah.
Wow, it's been going on for quite some time. So give back whatever they have, also put a part of it. Really inspiring, really inspiring. What is your strength and what is your biggest limitation?
Interesting. About my strength, I would say the ability to question. I think it's a recent development in my personality that I have started questioning a lot of things around, which has helped me understand things and also stand against a few matters of society, whether it's stigmatization of mental health, whether it's stereotyping of women or anything. So my strength is that I question things, which is
Mm.
little annoying for my friends because I push them into those kind of serious discussions. And then my strength is the ability to empathize with people and build and bond with people and make those relations. I think
Mm.
that's the blessing for me, that I'm able to develop those relations with people, and it's just so beautiful when you understand people's journey, and that's what you are doing, in fact.
Oh,
Going through people's journey and understanding them and understanding that every human is so different. So I think there's the EQ part, which is higher in my personality instead of IQ.
mm.
So I think those are my strengths. And about my weakness, um, I think there's a lot of scope for improvement. I think it's never-ending journey, but I think because I'm emotional, I get a little too emotional about things, which has disturbed me a little. Whether it's about social issues or whether about people around. So I think I'm
Mm.
working on balancing, because I
Mm.
want to be a psychologist in future. I got to balance
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Have you been through many challenges which you realize that you need to talk about to people who are listening, and who all of us go through this, but we don't know that we are into anxiety or depression and how to come out of it? And what is it that you can say that they can do to bring them out of these phases?
Yeah, so my journey in mental health began when in 11th standard, when we have to choose our subjects. I chose
Mm.
psychology. There was some kind of fascination for the subject since always, and psychology is very vast, and there's just little part of mental health in it. When I studied it, I would delve into long conversations with my psychology teacher. I would research around, and then I started understanding. I remember making a documentary on mental health. I interviewed around 30 people of different ages, and I just asked them, what do you understand by mental health? What do you do you think that we can visit a psychiatrist when we need to, or is it a shame or something? And I started researching about it, and then I was like, it is such a huge area that we need to work on. And I
Mm.
think this is the next or the current epidemic of the world, that we are
Mm.
facing lots of mental health issues, problems, and disorders that we are just hiding under the rug because we
Mm.
attach shame and stigma to mental health. I was diagnosed with depression disorder in 2022 when I was in my college. And because I had studied a lot, and because I'd been working around it, I did not stigmatize it. And hence, I immediately sought professional help. I definitely agree that your experience is very different from what you read about.
Mm.
That was challenging, but I sought professional help, which helped me to a greater extent.
Mm.
And in fact, I also lost one of my school juniors to suicide, which was extremely disturbing for me. And
Ah.
it was during COVID times, because you
Mm.
know how stressful COVID time was.
Mm.
Um, that was the one of the reasons I started re-evolve 2021, which was
Mm.
I briefly talked about it, that mental health sessions. And in
Mm.
2022 also, I had 1 month long those sessions and awareness, and connecting people to those professionals. And then we started doing those awareness sessions and talks and everywhere. So I thought
Mm.
there was a connection that I could build with between me and the youth, because we were
Mm.
connected by that mental health issue. They were
Mm.
facing it, but they were not talking about it. I had
Mm,
faced it and I was talking about it.
mm,
So I definitely agree there is a huge scope for us to improve in case of mental health. I say that often we need to bring mental health in our conversations, in our curriculums, and in our policies, and only then we would say that okay, there is a change in mental health aspect. So yeah,
mm.
that's my journey
Yeah.
of mental health. Yeah, and I think it's never ending.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
one thing which is common, whether we talk about any other topic, is this age group of 14 to 24 whom I interview, all of have shared this issue that they have gone through this, especially during the phase of 2019 to 2022. Each one of them has told me, just like you, that they were depressed, they couldn't get out of the bed, they didn't even
Exactly.
feel like waking up, even a glass of taking a glass of water would feel a big chore, and
Mhm.
they had all gone through that. They
Mhm.
explicitly remember that those were most traumatic times and how they came out of it. As much as we talk, it's that is less, because it is really affecting everyone, whether they show it or not.
And I think depression has shaped me to a great extent. I don't think a lot of people think this way, but
Yes, agree.
it is a blessing in disguise. The time that you are going through that particular phase is the most traumatic and the most difficult one, and that to me being miles away from my parents and my support system. But what you come out of with is very important. How it shapes you is extremely important. So I think I've learned a lot from that phase. Yeah.
Absolutely. Talk as much as you can with unknown people. Just
Hmm.
talk. Just generally speaking, communication with anybody helps take out a lot of angst within you. A lot of issues comes out, and then you start looking at it differently. If you have to write a book on yourself, Ananya, at this time of your life, what would be the title of that book?
Oh, okay. But I have already one title in my name that I want to launch a poetry book of mine. I've not
Oh,
shared it with anyone. This is the first platform. It is Dancing in the Aisle. So
lovely.
I am a person who, I don't know, there's some connection of me and the supermarket. I love supermarkets. I would literally dance in the aisles of supermarket. I don't want to buy anything. I'll take a trolley and roam around, and there is something that just rejuvenates me. I'll just take a library break. I'll go to the supermarket, dance in the aisles, and come back. And there's just some, I always come back with a smile. I know this
Smile.
sounds funny, but it is what it is.
Absolutely.
That's with one another perspective, that we can dance. I am equating dance with enjoyment of fun, for whatever you love. And the situation of aisle is that you have something on both the ends and you're in
Both
middle of it.
sides.
We are people who think that we need free space, only then we would be able to be happy, we'll be able to enjoy. We need specific things and resources, a party or something. But through my the title, I somewhere also want to convey that it could be possible that you're in mid of nowhere and you could be happy. That perspective as well.
Wow. Amazing. There's something unique perspective. You are giving me such ideas. Well, lovely. You have to take three people from anywhere across the globe living, other than your family members, for dinner. You have three space with you. Who would those three people be, and where would you take them?
Wow. I think I would like to take Mr. Sharad Vivek Sagar, Barack Obama, and a kid from Sushiksha. All three of them, where I would like to take them to the office of Sushiksha, the village that I and my sister have adopted.
Third one was very interesting. You take a young child from your school on that table. Lovely. All right.
Yeah.
Ananya, if you have to give one gift to the whole world, that one's gift, what would that gift be to everybody in the world?
My contribution to the world. I won't be able to reach every person on the earth, but the little contribution towards people around me, and my smile. I think smile is infectious, it is powerful. And looking at people, even the strangers, I just smile, they smile, and I'm like, okay, I am happy, my day is made. So I think, yeah, smile for the world.
Wow, that's great. That's great. A gift of smile is something which I would give to people too. That's
Wow.
amazing, Ananya. You are going back to your school after, say, 30 years. Just imaginary situation, you're back to your school. What are the three things you think need to change in education system? If you are in a position to change them, what would those be?
I think number one would be having social and emotion learning in the curriculum so that there's focus on mental health. There are more physical education periods because I know how it is in school that every maths teacher takes the physical education period to complete the syllabus. But I hope that there are more, students are physically trained because as important as it is to be mentally strong, it is important to be physically strong. And third is that students are encouraged for spiritual growth and understanding, because that's something we never talk about in schools, whether it's through yoga, meditation, or just intellectual understanding of spirituality, so that we have holistic education in real sense. So yeah.
Would you like to be in future associated with politics?
Oh, honestly, I've not thought about it much. I'm happy having my own clinic and, being a psychologist and a social activist. That's what I dream of, a simple, happy life. But I think if that's the way to bring about huge change, then why not? But
Yeah.
at present, I have
At
no
present.
plans, not
Just
decided.
keep it in your mind because you need good orators, and you are one. A question which I ask everybody, and I look forward to this a lot because I want to know from you which are the books inspires you, if any movie has inspired you, which you can share, any song which you listen to when you are down, or anything which motivates people, or maybe some podcasts, some talk shows, anybody, anything which you can suggest our youth listen to.
Oh, that's again a very interesting question. I won't call myself an ardent reader, but I'm more into poetry books or nonfiction self-development books. And some of the books I really love. I'm not a person with favorite things.
Oh, it's okay.
I think Road Less Traveled by
Yeah.
Scott, and Who Will Cry When You Die. These are some of the books that we often hear about. Those books have beautiful, deep messages, and I think it's for me also. It's never enough that I've read this book and I've understood. I think it takes a lifetime to understand and apply a book. So yeah. And I am also into poetry books. So I've read quite a few books of Rupi Kaur, because she also
Oh,
portrays a
I
very
love
strong
her.
feminist side.
I love her feminist poetry. Beautiful.
I
Feminist.
love it too. Great, we share a lot of common interests. About movies, again, I'm a little more into Bollywood movies, and I because I question a lot. I My social activist sides never turns off. It never sleeps. So even in movies, I get where I question things. I'm like, this is problematic. Why a woman is always sexualized? Why is this happening?
Mm,
So I'm
mm,
not always having a very comfortable relation with movies or shows. But I think for fun, I do watch a lot of Netflix shows. One of the movies I think I could recommend to youth is Rang De Basanti, an underrated movie, but a very meaningful one.
mm.
About podcasts, I listen to a few YouTube podcasts. One of those is the Ranveer Show. It's by
Okay.
Mr.
Yeah.
Ranveer
Yeah.
Alabadia.
That's it.
And the best part is through his podcast I get to hear people from all diverse backgrounds, from a
Yeah.
Acharya Prashant to an actress to a change maker to a psychiatrist, everyone. And I've also started listening to Acharya Prashant, who is also a spiritual mentor. He's not a baba or a guru kind of person. He's just an intellectual person, an IIT and an IIM graduate. And yeah, I love listening to different things and collecting, and I'm not an ardent follower of any person or any particular philosophy that way. So yeah.
So, Ananya, we have almost come to the end of our talk, and as promised, you have to now ask me a question. So, this is an open forum, a role reversal.
How are you feeling right now? And the second question is, what drives you for your passion for what you do?
I like the first question. How are you feeling right now? Is the word you have to answer this right now. Every moment is now. Now, I'm only feeling that how blessed I am that I have you to talk to, and how grateful I am to be the youth whom I connect. And it's such a pleasure. It's such some blessings from top that I'm connecting with people like you. You drives me doing this is just that every day listening to people sitting at one place, connecting youth from everywhere around the globe. When I talk to a person sitting in US or somebody in Spain, I know what youth is going through. And so this is something which drives me, a platform honestly for everybody to just come and open up.
So, wow, lovely listening to you.
Thank you so much, Ananya. Here we'll end it with one of your poetry. Go ahead.
Wonderful, thank you. So I'll quickly share a small poetry which is on mental health. It goes like this. There are nights my mind wanders to seamless skies. There are days my energy sinks into the drain. There are times I battle with my own self. There are people that just remind me of pain. There are phases that seem endless. There are stages when life seems meaningless. But then, but then there are days I smile and world seems to smile. There are situations that tell failures aren't permanent. There are people who remind me of my powers. There are moments that add hope to my life. There are experiences that tell me there's much to explore. And then there is this poem. There is this poem that tells that I am too valuable to be lost in failures and successes, that things and moments come to change or go, that my life still remains about me, and that my highs and lows don't define me. My
Wow.
highs and lows don't define me.
Superb. I not only applaud you, I think this needs to be read every time somebody is down, somebody is out. So, any parting words? How was the experience?
Sure. I don't want to part, and hence I don't want this interview to end, but it is what it is. I have definitely loved interacting with you, your profound, meaningful questions. This is what even I was telling you earlier that I've given quite a few media interviews, and I know the structure, how it works, but the way you've delved into different aspects and the way you have given a beautiful message to the audience for all ages is just remarkable.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
what you
much.
do. Thanks for the vision that you carry. It's rare, it's beautiful. Yeah, honor
Thank
to
you.
be on your show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Friends, subscribe to my channel, Say Something with Mads, and see you again next week with another change maker who has something to say and the world will listen to them. But as I say before I end, that do a little bit, one thing at a time, one thing today to make this planet a better place. Maybe just not using a plastic cutlery today. Any small thing will make a long way to make this planet a better place. Thank you, Ananya. See you
Thank you
again
so much.
sometime.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone watching this. Thanks.